Contact.
This can be a dangerous procedure. You get hurt, possibly killed doing this.
All right. This doesn't feel right. Nothing about this feels right.
This one will be about hand propping and stick time in the oldest airplane I've ever been in.
And it'll do 1,500 to 2,000 feet a minute in the climb. It's like a 1929 carbon cub. It'll climb straight up if you hold the stick back.
I'm on the west coast for the Hood River fly-in. The weekend started off on a difficult note due to a tragic event that I won't get into here, but the community was out to keep the positive energy alive. And although I didn't get to fly the local museum aircraft as planned, we fit in some other cool stuff.
Hi, I'm Nick Couchus, and this is Hangar 180's 1929 Fleet Model 2B, and we're gonna go take it for a ride around Hood River today. So Hangar 180 is a museum out of Lewiston, Idaho, that their goal is to share vintage airplanes and World War II aircraft. So we have everything from the 1929 Fleet, a Waco UBF that was flown by Amelia Earhart. We have a Stearman Speedmail that was flown by Charles Lindbergh, a Roscoe Turner's Ryan STA, PT-22, a P-40 that served at the 49 Fighter Group and has combat history in Papua New Guinea.
So I think I need to get there.
Yeah, you need to come out and visit.
Okay.
But for now, I was not going to refuse a ride in the oldest airplane I've ever sat in.
And this one was used by Kinner Engines, which is the manufacturer of the engine on the airplane. They used it as a flight test aircraft down in Glendale, California in the 1930s.
And this thing needs to be hand propped.
All right, here we go.
Something that I have no experience with. So that kind of inspired this episode to be all about flying this airplane and then also learning how to hand prop. Now, to be clear, every airplane engine has its own procedures for this, so please don't consider this instructional. In this case, I'm learning from TacAero across the field on a Continental C65.
So today we're gonna hand prop this airplane. We got some procedures that we like to teach here at TacAero people and ways to do it. First things first on the procedure, be safe. This is can be a dangerous procedure. You get hurt, possibly killed doing this. So we want to make sure we're doing it right and safe. First thing with being safe is making sure that you are dressed appropriately. If you have loose clothing, if you have a jacket on, sunglasses are a good thing to take off. I'll take my sunglasses off. You don't want anything impeding your movement. Make sure your aircraft is secured or someone with knowledge is in the airplane helping you out with it. Using the brakes, know that they understand where the mag switch is, know that they understand how the throttle works. Make sure that you have good back and forth communication. If I say mags off, they repeat back to me, mags are off, and you see them actually turn the mags off. I will do the first one to show you how to do it.
It was actually a pretty thorough hand propping lesson that we did at TacAero. So I'll be intercutting that with this flight. Now, this aircraft running the R55 Kinner requires completely specific different training for how to hand prop it.
This one's goofy to hand prop, it looks weird. So you get this blade facing down and walk it through with one hand.
Okay.
And it's very slow. You can't go and yank on it because the impulse will disengage. So you have to walk it through almost about this quickly.
Okay.
So that way the impulse.
So you're just pulling it through to get the...
To get the cylinders wet?
Yep. So one pull per cylinder, then you go?
Yeah, once it starts dripping.
Despite how old this thing is, it flew beautifully, and it's kind of amazing to me how little things have changed.
So this is the mag switch. So to turn them both on, you push that forward, and then to check them, you push these buttons. So when I'm taxiing in, I'm trying to control my speed because I can't see their heel brakes, and I can't get to them without taking my feet completely off the rudder. So to control my speed, I'm doing this to slow it down.
And you're shutting the mags off.
Shutting the mags off. And then it does not have a fully caster tail wheel, so you have to be careful not to kick the tail wheel out too much.
Because it'll unlock?
It has cables that will bind up.
Oh, just break?
Yeah, it'll just break.
That setup is so delicate that they just completely disconnect them every time they need to tow the airplane. And this airplane does not have an intercom system, so we briefed how we do the sort of old school transfer of controls.
So when they're out there, do you want to give me a bit of stick time or something?
Yeah, you'll...
So you just wiggle
I'll just wiggle it and you fly it, and then when I wiggle it back, you take it.
Yeah. All right.
Taxi down the end of the runway, full throttle, take off, pull back to about 1700 RPM for climb. Kinners turn very slow, so 1700 feels like the end of the world. It'll do 1500 to 2000 feet a minute in the climb. It's like a 1929 carbon cub. It'll climb straight up if you hold the stick back. Leave it about 1700 for cruise. It'll cruise out at 105, 110 miles an hour. Go play around a little bit. It's a nice flying airplane. It's not aerobatic at all. It has a pretty slow roll rate, but it does not feel like a 1929 airplane. It feels like a brand new airplane.
Back to the lesson. I have to admit I felt uneasy, but I knew I was in good hands.
Again, I'm gonna zip up my coat here and probably take off my glasses. Okay, Brian is an experienced pilot. He does know how to fly the airplane, but we're gonna verify he does understand where the brakes are at. Throttle up here, back to idle, forward is full throttle, and then up here on the top, verifying that he understands where the off position is and then the both position. Always treat it as if the mags are hot. Don't get in the way of the throw of the propeller. I'm gonna prime the engine. So it's the primer up here, and there I've got a good shot. I'll give it about 4 shots of prime. Now I'm gonna finish priming the engine by pulling the propeller through. And I'm listening for kind of almost a wet sound inside the cylinders. At this point, get rid of the chocks because I wanna verify that he is holding the brakes for me. It's not just the chocks. Verify that the brakes are set.
Brakes set.
Okay, and I'm gonna push on the front of the airplane to make sure the brakes are set. Verify that the ignition is in the off position.
Magneto's off.
All right, and I'm gonna pull the propeller through in order to prime the engine. One more time, let's verify the fuel is in the on position.
Fuel is on.
Okay, throttle is cracked.
Throttle closed and now cracked.
Mags are off still.
Mags are off.
All right, and brakes are set.
Brakes are set.
As I'm pulling the prop through, I don't want to be too close to the propeller because then it becomes hard to pull through and it could hit me, right? I don't want to be too far away from the propeller because as I pull the propeller through, I could fall forward into it as it starts. So you want to have the proper distance away from your body. Putting my hands near where the sticker is or kind of midway down the propeller. I put my hands up here, put pressure against it, and then as I'm pulling the prop through, I will swing my weight forward with my leg and I will pull backwards as I pull the prop through and I walk away from the propeller. All right, confirming brakes are set. I'm gonna push on the airplane. Brakes feel set.
Brakes set.
Okay, one more time, throttle is cracked.
Throttle's cracked.
Fuel is in the on position. All right, and I'm gonna have you turn mags to hot.
Set to both.
Okay, here we go. All right, contact. Okay, very good. Mags off. And we'll reset the situation here. Throttle set, and we can turn the fuel off.
Back in the fleet, Nick shook the stick to give me the signal to take over. Sorry about the super shaky cameras. This airplane actually flew fairly smoothly despite that.
Yeah, man, like it just flies so nice.
This is all you got for stabilizing.
Right.
This is all rudder.
Yeah.
So it feels like the rudder's not connected to anything. It's so light, but it just has so much authority. You don't even...
The first thing that I do when I get stick time in any new airplane is try some rolls on a heading. So I got myself lined up with some roads to give it a try. That's basically where you try to keep the nose pointing in one direction and then use the rudder and the ailerons to harmoniously keep it there. The cameras were so shaky, I'm not going to stay with much more of this footage, but I signaled to Nick to take it back because I wanted to see how he was going to land this thing. Now, getting back to the lesson on the ground, it was about to be my turn to give it a shot, but first, another technique where you can do this alone.
Another way we do this is if let's say you're by yourself. I find the safest way to do this is again to have the airplane tied down, chock set, and to start it from behind the propeller. Kind of the same procedure. What I will do though is I will turn the fuel on. I will prime the engine like we did before, 3 or 4 shots, set the throttle, and then I will turn the fuel off. The reason I'm turning the fuel off is in case this does get away from me it's gonna, you know, only run for so long. Fuel is gonna go off after I prime it. Throttle will be cracked. I already got the brakes set. Mags are hot. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold on here and I'm gonna put my foot in front of the tire as another chock. So the only thing that's kind of hard about this side is that you have to get your fingers around the back side of the propeller. So you could, if it does pop back, could hurt your fingers like we've been avoiding on the front side. All right. And what this gives me the option to do also is to reach in then once it starts and adjust the throttle. So mags are still hot, throttle's set, fuel's in the off position. I'm gonna chock it here with my foot and I'm gonna start the airplane. Okay, contact.
Okay, now it's my turn.
So let's go through the procedure without turning the mags hot, and then we will have you pull the prop through and kind of show you how to do it. Stand in front of the airplane.
Mags off.
Mags are off.
Brakes on.
set.
Yeah, brakes are set. So I'm gonna push on it, not get my fingers around it.
Yep.
Yep,
And you're too far away from it, right?
I caught myself.
So
there.
about straight up and down, you're looking good there. And then just kind of a fluid movement. I swing my leg out in front of me and then pull myself backwards, just like that.
Okay, mags off.
Mags off. Brake set.
Practicing, not too far away. Leg is up.
Yep, there you go. And then you can just keep walking.
Keep walking.
Just swing and just keep walking away from it. Yeah.
Let's see if I remember.
Okay.
You can stop me if I screw something up, right?
No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay, so mags are off.
Mags are off.
Brakes are on.
Brakes are on and set.
Okay, so I'm gonna check them.
Very good.
Checked.
Very
I'm
good.
gonna prepare the. I don't need to turn it through because it's already been turned through.
Yeah. About right there. Okay.
Fuel on.
Fuel on, right? Throttle cracked.
Throttle cracked.
Mags on.
Mags hot.
Okay. Contact.
Let's go ahead and mags off. All
This
right.
doesn't feel right. Nothing about this feels right.
Okay, fuel's on.
Fuel's on.
Fuel's on.
Throttle cracked.
Throttle's cracked.
Mags hot.
Mags hot.
All right. And just
Contact.
swing through it. Nice. Good job. Nice job. And then, of course, stay away from the propeller as it's running.
Yes, we'll cut it.
Nice job.
Okay.
Back in the air, I was trying to pay as close attention as I could to what Nick was doing, but without the intercom, it was difficult. Definitely inspiring me to get back there to fly with him again, where we can look at some of the other airplanes that he flies. Special thanks to Nick from Hangar 180 for fitting that impromptu flight in, and thanks to everyone at TacAero for the lesson, and of course thanks to Patreon supporters and sponsors for helping create this content. And until next time, keep your flight chops sharp.
What do you think?
That was awesome, man.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's a neat airplane. There's only about 4 of them flying.
This engine doesn't look exotic too much. I mean, there's nothing too weird about it, eh?
You know what a Ryan PT22 is?
Yes.
Same engine.
Okay.
Yeah, but this one is it's an early one, so you have to grease the rockers here every time you fly it.
Every time.
Yeah, so like we just flew it for 20 minutes, that's okay, but every time I put gas in it, I grease those. So I had to carry a grease gun here, and when we stopped for gas, you shot a couple pumps in it.
Wow.
So you have 1 or 2 per cylinder, so each side has to be greased.
I love that he told me after we landed that this was like his 4th landing in it.
What's wrong with that?